Bitcoin may be entering a 2 to 3 year bull market now, says Morgan Creek CEO. I'm Kieran from Crypto Bros, and I'm happy to have you here with me today. And I've got some nice news articles I'd like to share with you. So relax, grab a beer and enjoy the video. Now, first of all, we're going to be looking a little bit about Bitcoin price action, how we might be entering a bull market. Then we'll look at why the EOS coin has increased so much in price, what might be behind the price increase. We'll continue with decentralized exchanges and the future that they bring. IOTA's plan to revolutionize the motor industry is also a great topic. We'll continue with Fidelity mining BTC, which I think is very interesting, and then we'll top it off with some news about John McAfee and his crypto debit card, which I'm sure will interest a lot of people. So enjoy the video. Let's get going. So Bitcoin may be entering a 2 to 3 year bull market now, Morgan Creek CEO says. And the rundown: US dollar just as untied as BTC, that's the question, and the BTC bulls are back. So Bitcoin may be entering a 2 to 3 year bull market now, according to Anthony Pompliano, CEO of Morgan Creek Digital. So US dollar is just as untied as the Bitcoin. During a CNBC interview on the 14th of May 2019, Pompliano affirmed that neither BTC nor the dollar is tied to anything, whereas in contrast, the value drivers of all equities and every other asset are tied to something such as earning GDP interest rates. And he says, so Jason Choi says, Bitcoin is not tied to anything, neither is the US dollar, and how big is your cash position? That's his question. However, many do not consider US dollar not to be tied as the world's most popular cryptocurrency. For example, Twitter user Charles Brown remarks, let's not be totally delusional here. The USD is tied to the US government and all its military and economic might. And Reddit user IL0 asked, would USD continue to be valued as a reserve currency of the world if you couldn't pay taxes in US dollars? So the BTC bulls are back. During the same CNBC interview, Pompliano advises investors to bet on BTC and have it in their portfolio because Bitcoin is a non-correlated asymmetric return asset. Pompliano also argued that the bulls are returning to the market. Bitcoin exchanges are already seeing all-time high volumes, with futures reaching 1.2 billion US dollars. Meanwhile, both retail investors as well as financial institutions such as Fidelity are moving back into the crypto market. On top of that, the US-China trade war is also helping to drive BTC values higher while demonstrating Bitcoin's inherent attributes as a safe haven currency. And what he says, as a real Pompliano said, we hit the bottom of the bear market and now we have entered into this bull market. It would not surprise me if we entered that kind of 2 to 3 year bull market now. So you have to take this opinion with a grain of salt, since in the end it's only his opinion, and as far as I see, he's not basing his statement on facts, but it's just a gut feeling that he's got, which is always very difficult when you offer a financial advice like that. So he also highlighted Bitcoin's programmed scarcity, as over 76% of the total that will ever exist has already been created, and Pompliano considers scarcity as one of Bitcoin's value drivers. And I totally agree with him on that point. And that's where the value derives from Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They've got a limited amount of coins that you can have. It's only divisible into a certain amount of coins, and you cannot just create any more coins out of thin air. And that's not, when you're talking about fiat currencies, you don't have the same scenario, since very often fiat gets printed to counterattack inflation and many other reasons. So the value driven with fiat currencies is mostly because of the value that the population gives it. A while ago it was backed with gold, but that's no longer the case. So Bitcoin has reported Bitcoin stock to flow model that posits scarcity and value being in direct relationship, puts the price of one Bitcoin at around 55,000 US dollars by 2020. Not very sure where he gets this information, but interesting to have it. One other thing that I really like about about Bitcoin, just as a value driving factor, is that you don't need a third party to interact between you and whoever you're sending your BTC or other cryptocurrencies. And I think that's great because in the end, it's trustless system. No one can tell you how much, to whom, and where you want to send your money, which I think is fantastic. If you try to do that with any other country, some countries you're going to have difficulty getting money into that country. So I think that's also a very strong value driving factor that makes people interested into BTC and other cryptocurrencies that are considered digital cash or gold 2.0. Now, talking about if you want to accumulate, we've got the Bitcoin price possibility to hit 100,000 US dollars in 2019. And this is a bit of a fun article. You take it with a grain of salt. This is definitely speculation. I'm not totally sold on the point of view of this article, but let's see. Apparently this time traveler who predicted many price points in the last few years, and he's predicted a price point of 100,000 US dollars at the end of 2019, which is of course an extreme target to have. So Reddit claiming to be a time traveler from 2025 says Bitcoin will hit 100,000 US dollars in 2019. And then the US dollar and central banks will disappear. Very interesting, especially for people that already own BTC. They won't have anything against such a price increase, but it's still very, very far-fetched. Now, here says it again. Now, 5 years ago, Reddit user Luca Magnotta, let's zoom in a bit, who called himself a visitor from 2025, predicted Bitcoin's price for each year from 2010 to 2021. He has been pretty much right so far, giving the correct forecast for 2015, 2016, 2017. He skipped 2018. Probably he knew that there was going to be a bear market and didn't want to upset BTC holders back in 2013. However, for 2019, this personally confidently names the Bitcoin price to be 100,000 US dollars. And here's the Reddit post. I'm a time traveler from the future, here to beg you to stop what you're doing. And I'll link it down below if you want to read it more. But here he's got the different price points, and I think it's quite interesting. However, $1,000 in 2015, it was more likely, around 2014, and in 2017, $10,000, and end of 2019, $100,000, and 21 it will be 1 million US dollars. So very, very far-fetched price. I'm sure many people will be happy if this, including me, if BTC should reach this price, but as always, this is definitely some far-fetched speculation. And a time traveler begs the community to destroy Bitcoin. The Redditor says that in 2019, Bitcoin price will hit 100,000. 2021, it will rise to 1 million. And John McAfee will be able to keep his pride without chewing on it on national television. So yeah, quite interesting. Now you can take it as you want. And yeah, let's continue with one coin that's been outperforming BTC in the last few days and weeks is definitely EOS. And people are maybe wondering what's behind the 15% EOS spike and the biggest announcement. Now, cryptocurrency traders watching the charts today will likely wonder why altcoin EOS is still seeing over 15% increase, even though the momentum in the markets has slightly dropped off. And well, one of the most straightforward reasons behind coin spike is a round of update on the EOS Telegram community by Dan Larimer himself. And apparently there's an announcement of an announcement happening on June 1st. Not too sure what I should think of that. I'm not too fan of announcements. since very often it's buy the hype and then as soon as the news, and sell the news when it comes out and the price drops. So let's see if it's actually something worthwhile. But yeah, not too happy about announcing the announcement. And the developer, however, did not reveal what plans the team has in store, but only linked the incoming development to the fact that competing DApp platform Ethereum suffers from poor initial design. Interesting. But yeah, I think we have to wait and see what happens. However, there's another possible explanation for why the price has been increasing that much, and that's Block One's 10% EOS buyback. Aside from the biggest announcement, hints by Dan Larimer, EOS parent company will buy back 10% of its stock from stakeholders, and of course, the more EOS gets bought, the less supply there is, and the price goes up. It's basic of supply and demand. A 10% buyback would not be significant if not for the fact that it is taking place a few days before the big announcement and is set to give initial investors into the firm a whopping 6,567%. I am definitely lucky, however, not such a big amount. Now, the thing is, one thing I heard is that apparently they want to buy RAM, and that's because when you launch an application on the EOS network, you need RAM to be able to run this application. And it would also explain why they're buying so much EOS before they announce an application, so that it's much cheaper for them. So I don't think they're trying to manipulate the price, but it's still quite interesting. So, and I'm not sure actually when it was, but I think the all-time high was around $22.50 last year, and it sank to around $2 during the last bear market, and has currently trading around $7 with the last top at $8.10. So it's very interesting. Now, I found another article about Block One purchasing 3.3 million EOS worth of RAM, and after having unstaked their first vested EOS for a total of 9.8 million tokens. Today, Block One purchased 3.3 million EOS worth of RAM at the current price $7.59. It's about 25 million of RAM, which fees will go directly into the Rex pool. And here's the transaction information. I can link this down below if you're interested. But it's definitely a lot of RAM, like Johnny Hopseeds says, it's definitely a lot of RAM for an application. So at least this hopefully gives some explanation why there's been such a great price increase. Let's continue with why decentralization and decentralized finance will change the global economic landscape. So in recent years, the world economy has made incredible strides. Access to technology is steadily increasing. So the GDP is at its highest point since 2015, and unemployment rate is at 4-decade low, which is fantastic. Happy about that. Now, amid such rapid economic growth, you'd think public perception of traditional financial institutions would be on the rise. Unfortunately, continued operational barriers have continued to obstruct progress. Moreover, because users are gaining increased access to their financial information, many are starting to be more protective of their assets and expect centralized entities to be responsible for their action. And as you probably all know, banks can launder money, or they can do different financial crimes without repercussions, and people are getting fed up of that, especially since one of the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but one big aspect that people don't like of banks is that in 2018, many banks, I think they made around $6 billion on overdraft fees, which is a big amount of money made from people that don't actually have any money. So I have to quick check those facts, so don't fact check me. That's just off the top of my head. Now, but it's understandable that people have become more aware of what's happening with the data, and they want banks and other financial institutions to be a bit more responsible with it. So that's also explaining why people are moving to more decentralized services. So in order to step confidently into the future, we must begin to think critically about how to provide transparency to many of the dated processes that don't satisfy our needs completely. Using blockchain technology, the decentralized network supporting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I believe we just have to have found our answer, and that's decentralized finance. And I also believe that's definitely going to happen. The more blockchain technology is going to be coming to mainstream, the more I believe in the future we're going to have banks acting as like application on the blockchain network, offering financial services to people and not the other way around. So I believe blockchain is going to be the center of all digital transactions, and also making sure that there's a certain decentralization to financial assets, financial services, and so on. But I still believe that banks will have their place by offering different services, just using the blockchain as their go-to technology resource. Now, considering the implications, using only a smartphone or a handheld computer, countless individuals, many of whom have never visited a bank or applied for a credit card, will now have access to a portfolio of decentralized applications that allow them to participate in the global economy. And I think banking unbanked is one aspect I think is just revolutionary with the blockchain technology, is allowing people that don't have access to financial services, banks, and so on. And just with a mobile phone, they'll be able to connect to a global network, have access to a global currency. If, for example, the currency in a country is truly terrible due to inflation, corruption, and maybe a unstable government. So for users in emerging economies, this is hugely significant, providing many with the first tangible avenues to participate in global commerce. Although an estimated 1.7 billion people in the world remain unbanked, for example, a substantial portion of those people, 1.1 billion, own a cell phone. That's what I highlighted before. With a cell phone, they've got access to a massive network of many different options, and not only financial services, but they can tap into a job network. They can offer their manual labor, their micro tasks, for example, onto a global network and earn a global currency, which is not subject to local inflation. Moreover, because information stored on the blockchain can be uploaded from anywhere in the world, decentralized financial tools can empower millions of individuals to build a comprehensive financial history that can be used to apply for a loan or purchase property. So with their cell phone, they can tap into lending services with maybe friends and family vouching for them for the first few loans, and as they build up their credit score, they can apply for bigger loans. And these are micro loans, like maybe a few dollars, in countries where maybe the average salary is around $30 a month, and just a few dollars loan can mean a world's difference in having some food or buying some tools to be able to farm, or maybe send a kid to school, and so on. So I think the possibilities are incredible for enabling people to have a much better lifestyle. Not lifestyle, but actually to have a safe future, and maybe build up something, build a certain feature, not live paycheck to paycheck as they are doing now. So offer them a lot more options, and maybe also grow their earnings a little bit by being able to put some currency into a safe fund and so on. But I think one big problem is corruption. To be able to escape corruption, escape inflation, and unstable governments. So efficiencies in the financial system. Not only would decentralized finance make it easier for new consumers to take advantage of the global market, but it would also streamline inefficiencies that have long thwarted economic development. So cross-border transactions, for example, continue to be costly and time-intensive process, leaving many with transaction fees as much as 7%. Now, of course, if people are starting to earn their salaries in cryptocurrency, then they don't have any conversion fees, and sending the cryptocurrency can be feeless depending on which cryptocurrency you use, or very, very small fees, and definitely a lot faster and without control. So you see all the benefits, and I'm super bullish and passionate about all these benefits that blockchain and cryptocurrencies can bring, and hope you hear that in my voice. So granted, the country's economy is only healthy as its citizens' ability to sustain themselves, and for many citizens living in areas with high inflation rates, from Venezuela to Turkey, this is often easier said than done. So I think this is very interesting, and definitely decentralized financial models have the potential to completely democratize the global economic system. But will their promise ever materialize? And I think it goes even much further beyond than just unbanking the unbanked, no, banking the unbanked, sorry. And like it goes further, like to voting for different important people into the government, for creating voting tools which cannot be compromised and cannot be manipulated, and hopefully battling corruption on the top levels of the government and so on, especially in countries where that is dominant. And I think many different opportunities arise with this, and not only in the financial sector but many other sectors as well. So let's continue with IOTA, talking about planning to revolutionize motoring industry. And cryptocurrency and blockchain project IOTA have huge plans to revolutionize the motoring industry. IOTA is often referred to as a company that is spearheading the Internet of Things revolution, a revolution that promises to make the internet more than data. It wants to make hardware and software interact through a combination of artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, and a number of scientific revolutions. I think all the partnerships and the projects that they're working on, I think it's fantastic. I see a lot of potential in the data marketplace and all the data points that you can maybe automatically gather with different, like for example with your car in the future, and hopefully your car can then pay for itself. If you think about it, like further in the future, probably also just Uber-like autonomous vehicles driving around, paying for the recharging, not fuel anymore, hopefully, and paying for parking, paying for tolls and so on, and be able to be more or less sustainable just by gathering information on the weather, on the traffic, on the road conditions and so on, and selling it to different companies on the data marketplace. So I think the potential is huge, and it's definitely a massive industry with a lot of growth potential. So IOTA has been making headlines in the cryptocurrency circles over its ability to revolutionize the vehicle industry. The foundation has already signed deals with Jaguar and Range Rover, where drivers will be earning IOTA tokens to share information on their driving experience. I think, of course, at the beginning, drivers can be earning this. However, I've seen a few tests where they use the cars to actually have their own wallet integrated into them and be able to earn to earn IOTA on the fly, driving around, gathering data points. IOTA has proved that it is positive affected by partnership, with all partnerships are announced recently. IOTA's value has already spiked, and the foundation has announced that it has several partnerships lined up. So I'm not completely, I don't agree completely with this statement. Unfortunately, the price is not as doesn't correlate as much with good news as people would like, especially long-term investors. However, in my opinion, the price point at the moment is pretty good. If you look at all the potential that IOTA can have, IOTA is more of a marathon instead of a sprint. Lovely projects, lovely partnerships, and I believe as soon as people realize what kind of potential it's got, then more investors will come in and it will reflect on the price. But at the moment, bigger companies have the first movers advantage, but they're more or less testing and they don't have like fully fledged out services working at the moment. But I think it would take a few years. So yeah, it's looking good, but don't expect super price increases just because of the partnerships and so on. IOTA is less based on hype compared to other cryptocurrencies, but I'm super bullish on the potential that IOTA can have for the automobile and the Internet of Things technology data marketplace for all things considered. I think there's a lot of potential in there. Now talking about Fidelity. Fidelity is mining BTC. That's quite interesting. You've probably heard already many people talking about Fidelity Investments, and it's an American multinational asset and financial service provider based in Massachusetts. Is continuing its mining of Bitcoin, the global leading cryptocurrency, according to Bitcoin developer Justin Moon. So a funny name. Never mind. So through Twitter, Justin revealed that the company is continuing to mine crypto and that the institution has a chamber filled with dedicated BTC miners. And yeah, I think it's quite interesting that they're not only offering financial services, moving into that space, but also mining BTC on their own with their miners, which I think is interesting, shows that there's a lot of interest in the space. However, this is not actually the first time financial services corporations was exposed as participating in the crypto industry. It is obvious that the company gets deep into blockchain and cryptocurrency. Earlier this month, they presented cryptocurrency trading services. So very interesting. Apparently, they started mining already back in 2015, and they've been mining since, which means hopefully they've had a nice gain on their investment. Now, to top it off with John McAfee's, he's always got some interesting information, and John McAfee's upcoming crypto debit card will be privacy anonymity focused, and of course that is definitely something to be expected from John McAfee. So John McAfee has always been vocal about being bullish about Bitcoin. His famous prediction, Bitcoin hitting a valuation of $1 million by 2020, garnered a lot of attention in the cryptocurrency community. So you probably already heard about that, and let's see what else he's got in stake for us. One thing I forgot to mention about my upcoming Visa MasterCard crypto debit card, I retain the privacy and anonymity inherent in crypto. We ask only that what name you want on the card and what address you want it shipped. PO boxes are acceptable. So of course it's the legitimacy of this crypto debit card is questionable, especially if you look at McAfee's background. He's definitely not an angel. Introducing his Visa MasterCard crypto debit card, which had freedom, lover, and get your soul back written on one side, the 2020 US presidential candidate announced, yes, the card is accepted everywhere. That Visa or MasterCard are accepted US, Europe, Russia, China, Tierra del Fuego, everywhere, no restrictions. Now, yeah, I'm still wondering how he's going to be able to pull this off, since offering crypto and cryptocurrency debit card with no information that ties to the person using it. I think that will definitely throw up some red flags with many governments. And further, the controversial figure was recently bombarded with small amounts of Bitcoin after he posted pictures of both sides of his card. And he's definitely one person that doesn't need any more Bitcoin after his lovely pump and dump schemes of 2017, if you can remember those. So when I suggested in the last tweet that naysayers saying the scan code on the back of my Bitcoin card was not even real, I should just try sending Bitcoins and see. Sure as heck, BTC came rolling in. So I think it's quite interesting to see if he manages to pull this off. I mean, I've not got anything against owning a crypto debit card which is anonymous. However, I'm a bit skeptical to see if he's actually going to manage and pull this off, because it's definitely going to attract a lot of maybe the wrong crowd, if you catch my drift. So that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I created an Instagram account with some market updates and so on. If you want to check that out, I put the link down below in the description. And yeah, that's about it. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.